Meh. Let's rock. Hey Rockstars, Vane here. Welcome to the series premiere of R9 290X Gaming. In this series, we'll explore the hardware capacities and limitations of the R9 290X through everyone's favorite method of benchmarking, gaming. Unlike past gaming series on this channel, there will be a few fundamental differences. Firstly, and most notable, is that there will now be a live frame rate counter in each gameplay clip, rather than a calculated average. This will provide a much better sense of performance and will cut down on production time, since I no longer need to take the extra time to watch my gameplay clips and gather metadata to crunch numbers. Secondly, I will no longer be doing a mini review for each game featured. Instead, I will be focusing mainly on the technical aspects like optimization, compatibility, and potential bugs. I may talk a bit about featured games when needed, but mostly I'll stick to performance-related topics. The reason being is that I will be doing far more full-length reviews of games in the very near future, which makes reviewing them here pretty irrelevant. With that said, I hope that you enjoy this new series and that it helps you to make informed decisions when investing in PC hardware. If you have any questions or need an opinion regarding computer hardware, then as always, leave them in the comments below and I will always do my best to provide a fast and detailed reply. Without further ado, let's rock.
Boss, the mission objective is to eliminate 2 U.S. Marines officials. The pair were in Laos together, but retired after...
By now, you guys know that I'm a hardcore Metal Gear fanatic, but I'm not here to gush about my favorite franchise coming back to the PC platform. Instead, let's talk about the performance that you can expect from Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, running on an AMD R9 290X. As always, we'll be using my preferred graphic settings to set the bar. Honestly, I was a bit skeptical of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes being ported to PC at first, and cautiously began playing with low expectations, since console ports have really been abysmal at best in recent years. But I'm happy that my hesitation was misfounded, since Kojima delivered a solid experience. Oh god, that was just horrible. I'm so sorry. Anyway, Ground Zeroes is very well optimized, with the exception of a few minor hiccups. For example, when there are a lot of assets being drawn on screen at any given time, you can expect some fairly noticeable impacts to your frame rate. The best example of this would be at the beginning of the main Ground Zeroes mission, where Big Boss is perched on the cliffside overlooking the sprawling compound, which leads me to believe that all dynamic assets are being rendered at all distances, including dynamic lights, shadows, animations, and particle effects. I feel that the inclusion of a draw distance slider could have mitigated this problem, since it's really not necessary to draw such assets when they're really not within visual range at all times. Either way, Ground Zeroes still doesn't dip to an unplayable frame rate in any instance that I've encountered. When there isn't a ton of clutter on screen, you can normally expect a fairly buttersmooth experience in even the highest settings. I'm also particularly impressed by the absence of bugs. That's not to say that I haven't encountered any. For instance, there were a few times when Snake began moving on his own without any input from me, and to stop this from happening, I would have to quickly hit the escape key to pause the game and then resume. If Ground Zeroes is anything to judge the Phantom Pain by, then I am genuinely excited for its September 1st release, and you can expect a full-length, in-depth review soon afterwards.
What took you so long?
Stay back! We got hostages!
Tell the sheriff the 211 is confirmed. We're gonna need everything we got down here.
The sheriff's here. We never could have beaten that response.
There's other ways.
I don't care if they surrender. I'm killing these bad guys.
Now let the hostages go, and we'll talk like gentlemen. Time to face the music.
If you haven't already, then I highly recommend that you tune into my full-length GTA 5 PC review, where Vaughn and I dissect the single-player and online transition that Grand Theft Auto 5 made from console to PC. Annotation, of course, on the screen right now or in the description below. For now, let's take a closer look at how this amazing game performs on a high-end PC. I don't know how Rockstar created such stunning visuals, and yet kept the impact on performance to a minimum. It's further mind-boggling when you put it side by side with the performance of other open-world games of the same genre, like Watch _Dogs, or Watch Dogs, or whatever the hell you kids are calling it these days. Damn kids with your skateboards, your beavers, and your crystal meth. Or that's what I'm assuming kids are into. I don't know. What I do know is that GTA 5 rarely dips below 50 frames per second on the settings that I presented at the top of this segment, whereas a game like Watch Dogs struggles to achieve 30 frames per second with the same graphical settings. In my opinion, Watch Dogs is a big visual downgrade from GTA 5, and yet Watch Dogs hovers around the 25 frames per second mark during routine gameplay, while GTA 5 can maintain a smooth 60 frames per second even when all hell is breaking loose on screen. This simply reflects the fact that Rockstar worked hard to deliver a well-optimized PC version rather than throw together a half-ass console port with the money now and we'll fix it later attitude that other nameless companies have adopted recently. GTA 5 earns top marks as a shining example of what a port should be. I'm even hesitant to use the term port, since it plays so well. It would seem that this version was crafted solely with the PC platform in mind, which honestly it likely was. A note to other publishers and developers: pay attention to Rockstar, and maybe just maybe, you won't incur the wrath of the PC gaming community and get yourself digitally lynched all across social media and the rest of the web.
See how you feel when this is 18 inches deep inside? Get the lube. Actually, fuck the lube. Let's dry dock him. Who the fuck is this? Terminate him. Close this problem right now.
Yeah, I can use a little backup here.
Get me the station team.
36 flow. Got you.
And the bracelet. Igni. Hey, I think it worked.
I was going to feature a full-length review of The Witcher 3, however, due to time constrictions and obligations in my personal life, I wasn't able to provide a full-length review. But likely you've already heard a dozen or so other critics sing its praises as if it were the second coming of Christ. So, consider this my unofficial abridged review. Do you enjoy role-playing games with an awesome narrative, excellent gameplay, and relatable characters that are easy to become emotionally invested in? Then
buy this fucking game!
But in all seriousness, The Witcher 3 is unbelievable. I could sit here all day and gush into this microphone about what makes this one of the best games of the decade so far, but that's not the point of this series, of course. So, how does it perform? If you've been paying attention to the frame rate counter, then you already know that it's yet another sterling example of a PC version done right. I've found that cranking up the visuals do impact the performance fairly significantly, but the visuals are truly something to behold. This game is pretty. But to be fair, while benchmarking The Witcher 3, I didn't notice a massive drop in visual fidelity when comparing low settings to high. Don't get me wrong, there are differences, but it still looks good either way. Damn good, in fact. I found my balance between performance and visuals, which I presented at the start of this clip, and normally maintain a decent 40 frames per second. Also, fair to note, for the love of Christ and all that is pure and good, do not enable hairworks in the graphics settings. There is no quicker way to derail this game's otherwise excellent performance. Also, when enabling hairworks, I don't see a big difference at all. I may be blind, but I dedicated a few hours to testing this option, on or off. It doesn't seem to do much of anything, other than throw your frame rate off a bridge into a river with concrete shoes. I know from watching other reviews and user videos that The Witcher 3 is riddled with its fair share of bugs, but honestly, so far in my 20 plus hours of playing, I've yet to encounter one, even after I went out of my way to recreate some of them. Not sure why the bugs aren't consistent, but I suppose individual playthroughs can vary greatly. With that said, that brings this segment to a close. And just remember to
buy this fucking game!
Actually, no, not even then.
Chet, Lesh, back off. I'll teach this vagrant a lesson. Man on freak.
Hey you, become a Rockstar and subscribe today, or at least show your support and clickety-clack that like button if you enjoyed this video. Want more great content? I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Links below in the description. As always, take care and you rock.